Go ahead and hit it, Matt. Ew.
That's your cue.
There it is. Hey, what's up? This is the Connect Podcast. I'm sitting here with Pastor Matt Manning, and to my left, we have a guest with us, Chip, the wonderful Case.
Hi. Good to be here. Glad to be on the podcast at last.
At last. Here he is. Do you have a nickname, Chip?
Chip is my nickname. Yeah. My real name is unpronounceable in the English language, so I'm just a chip off the old block. That's how I got the name.
Can you pronounce it?
Daryl. But it's spelled odd. It's spelled D-A-R-I-E-L. So all my life growing up, in
Daryl.
school or whatever, if I go somewhere and I have to put my name down, it's Daryl.
Interesting.
Like, in school, it was really embarrassing.
How long have you been Chip?
Well, truly all my life, because my parents called me that when I was little and tiny. But I kind of changed from Daryl to Chip when I changed schools in about 5th grade.
Okay. I like it.
Learn something new every day.
Learn something new every day. Well, hey, today on the podcast, there is a big controversy happening in our world today, typically in American culture, and it is this hype around the Jeopardy show, and lots of cancel culture stuff. There's lots of who's going to be the new host, who should be, who shouldn't be, why they should, why they shouldn't, and so we're going to be talking Jeopardy today.
I lost on Jeopardy, baby. You should be playing Weird Al Yankovic, because that is a song. I lost on Jeopardy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
You're just too young.
You're
honestly too young.
I know who Weird Al is.
Yes,
but,
because of Hamilton. Because he did the Hamilton
I knew
stuff.
it before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, I was young.
Well, we looked
Weird Al was doing
high.
stuff.
We looked around because you and I are like fringe Jeopardy friends.
Yes.
Fans. Maybe I'm more fringe than you are.
Uh-huh.
But Chip, he's a Jeopardy guy.
He's a diehard.
I'm all in.
Yeah. I mean, I have lots of nostalgia around Jeopardy because it was like, I can't remember what came first. Was it Wheel of Fortune first and then Jeopardy?
Jeopardy's pretty old. I mean, Gene Rayburn did Jeopardy at
when it was on at night.
Oh yes.
Oh, on at night. Yeah, it's probably.
I can't remember what it was, either Wheel of Fortune and then Jeopardy, or Jeopardy and then Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
But both of those was a cue for me that it was dinner time.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. It was time for dinner, and it was always on. And so it definitely is a connection to my childhood. And I was curious, are there any other game shows that have any kind of nostalgia for you fellers?
Yeah, for me, there was two of them. One is Double Dare on Nickelodeon.
Uh-huh.
And so I just loved it. My mom hated it, but I just loved it so much when people got slimed.
That's
and
right.
then the game show I really loved was American Gladiators, where they would have like the big
That's a good
steroid
show.
people
Mm-hmm.
and then the average person, and then they would like duke it out in the ring. And so, fun story, I have a Vizio TV, and when we got it, it has like its own little free TV thing in it. And there's like a station that's just American Gladiator
That's so
all the
hilarious.
time. And so I sat down
a
and
great
watched it
show.
with my kids, and I was watching it, and they loved it. But it would never get made today. It is so such a violent show.
Did you know that Nickelodeon
great.
had a show that was a lot like Gladiators, but for kids?
Maybe.
Do you remember it?
No.
It's called Guts. Nickelodeon Guts, but it's set up a lot like, you know how you have to do like at the end and they're shooting at you?
Yeah.
I think they shot like Nerf guns at you as
That's
you were
what we
trying to
do
get to
in
the
my
scene.
backyard.
Yeah.
Is we set up an American Gladiator arena, and we use rival because they sting a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then my kids run through, and I'm the gladiator trying to shoot them.
This was before, Ninja Warrior. I feel like Ninja Warrior is kind of like the modern day
Yeah.
Gladiator.
That's a
Without
pretty
the
cool show.
violence.
Without the violence. That's right, because it's just you and, they still fall into water.
Regular sized men are getting pummeled by huge men
That's
Yeah,
true.
that's
in American Ninja.
So,
Or women.
That's right.
No, women were pretty big. As a matter of fact, Jen Wiederstrom, who was on The Biggest Loser, she was an American Gladiator.
Oh.
Really?
The Phoenix, yeah.
So she was an American Gladiator that got big and then needed help getting small again?
Sort of, yeah. I mean, she was the fast one, and she was, she's still
and
giant.
now she's the Bachelorette. I'm just kidding.
Way to go. There's a game show for you.
What were some of those for you, Chip? Did you have
Sure. Well, Jeopardy's been on since 1967 or whatever. And then, one of the ones that we would watch, not only when I was little, but even before, was Let's Make a Deal.
Yep.
So Let's Make a Deal was on when I was little, and it was on at 11:30, and so we would get ready for lunch, and especially in the summertime, watch Let's Make a Deal with Monty Hall, and Carol Merrill was the girl who did that. I know you can't see that, but she would introduce this stuff, and what's behind door number 3, go look where Carol Merrill is standing. And then Let's Make a Deal was on PBS at 11 o'clock when my kids were little.
Okay.
And so I would come home from work. I worked at a drugstore. I would work very late. I'd get home at about 10, and we would watch 3 shows. And then I'd have to go to bed. We would watch Are You Being Served? I don't know if you've ever watched that. It's a great British show. Allo Allo, another great British show about the Second World War. And then...
I feel like that's an oxymoron.
No, it's what they're really good.
Great
if
British
you can
show.
find them, they are really funny. They are really funny. And then Let's Make a Deal would come on, and I'd have to go to bed after that because I had to get up and go to work.
Good.
So Let's Make a Deal.
Yeah, we always watched like The Price is Right.
Oh yeah.
And that was especially when we were sick. Like that was like the beautiful thing. When you were sick, you had saltine crackers, you had Sprite, and you had The Price is Right.
Price is Right.
Yeah, and you knew this is a good day. I'm not at school. I'm at home watching The Price. That's right.
Yeah, and there's all those shows, right? Like the $10,000 Pyramid and One-Eyed Jacks.
Oh, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yeah,
that one was big for a little.
It was.
A little while.
Yep.
Oh man, that's good. So I know that for me at least, when it comes to game shows, it's kind of odd that there's an emotional attachment to these shows.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it's not, especially the long running ones. I mean, there's ones when we went to, we got to go on a trip to Florida, and so we got to go to Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida, and we got to go watch a game show. And it was with, do you remember the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
Will
was
Smith.
Yeah, it was the dad though.
Okay.
I can't remember what his name is, but that guy was huge. Like, and he was the host of this game show that we got to go watch, and it was terrible. I don't even think it ever made it to TV. But my takeaway from that was, man, that guy is huge because Will Smith is pretty big too, and this guy's taller than Will Smith. So anyway, Phil. Yeah, whatever. We love you, Phil, whatever your real name is. But just that emotional attachment and memories and nostalgia that comes to that. And I think that happens a lot with Jeopardy, too. And so I'm curious, as we shift into Jeopardy, are there favorite Jeopardy moments? Is there one that you have?
I think for me, like the moments that I think of are watching Jeopardy with my grandma because she watched it a lot. So I can't remember that. And then if I was being honest, my most memorable moments are the Saturday Night Live sketches of Jeopardy. I can quote a lot of
Trebek.
those.
Oh, yeah.
Trebek.
And so those Sean Connery.
Those are more so memorable than the actual game show for me.
Yes.
Like I said, fringe Jeopardy fan here.
Good job, Will Ferrell.
Yes.
I always loved the weeks too that the questions were easier, and I could play along and feel like I got a lot more, like Teen Jeopardy or Celebrity Jeopardy.
So I can tell you, my daughter was on Jeopardy.
No, she was not.
She was on Jeopardy, yeah. There's a picture. She has it on her Facebook page and her Insta, and she's standing there with Alex Trebek.
Uh-huh.
And so since she was on, I went with her.
When was she on?
Oh, man, I don't know. It's
That's probably like 7 years ago, maybe?
So it wasn't even that long ago.
Was it longer?
Yeah, maybe even longer. So she was on Jeopardy, and my buddy lived in California, Bill Nixon, former associate pastor here. So we went and stayed. I went and stayed with him.
The way that came out of your mouth, I thought you were going to say sociopath.
Oh,
he's a former sociopath.
Well, maybe he is. He's a great guy. I still talk to him all the time.
So anyway, California. Yes.
So we go to California and we go to Studio City or wherever, and they were filming The Price is Right across the way. So there's a big line for people going into The Price is Right, and there's a smaller line going into Jeopardy. So I was in the studio audience, and with the contestants. So the contestants are on one side, the studio audience is on the other side, and the contestants have to wait because they do all 5 days of the show in one day.
Right.
And so they bring some different clothes, and then we just sat and watched Alex Trebek and whoever the announcer guy is, Johnny Gilbert. Maybe, I don't know. And they would come out before every show, and Alex always had a different suit on. He would go back, change clothes, come back out. and he would answer the same questions. And they even had it down to, here's the information you need to know. This is how long I've been on. This is the largest winner. This is the person who's been on the longest. And then they would go in. And it's not about the questions. It's about the buzzer. So when my daughter was on, she was on with another woman and this kid who was Quick Draw McGraw on the buzzer. And Becky knew the answers. Oh,
there it is.
That's right.
There's the
Thank
buzzer.
you. Becky knew the answers, but she
Ready.
couldn't buzz in and do it. And he would buzz in, and he was beating them both. So by the time they got to the end, Becky had like $7,000. The woman had $13,000, and the dude had $40,000. And so we get down to the end, and you can see the other people. If you ever watch it, you can see it. And the other thing about it is
Getting frustrated because they're pushing the
yes,
button and they're not
pushing the
fast
button,
enough.
they're not getting in. So you can't see it on the little frame on the TV when they shoot the frame of the question or the answer.
Yeah.
There's a white countdown that goes around that frame that says you can buzz in here and you have this long to buzz in, and then they do the little doodle and it's over. So even whatever the question is, you want to buzz in when that light comes up at the top of the frame. And he could do it. So they get to the end, and
So it's almost like he's timing when to hit the button.
he is. Yeah, that's what it's about.
I mean, you
It's
have
about-
to know the answer too. but-
in some cases, he didn't know all the answers. He just got the ones that he got. So they get to the end, Final Jeopardy. It ends up being
When does that light come on? When he's done with the question?
as
Okay.
soon as he's done with the question, as soon as he says,
But he's
wrote
reading
Crime
through it,
and
so if you can
Punishment.
read it faster than he can
Yes.
say it, then you're just waiting for him to stop talking and you hit
Correct.
the button.
Correct.
Oh.
So
I would still
we get
lose. I would
to-
be negative lots of money.
Well, you get to the end, and my daughter, he bets his whole bank. He bets 40 grand. And my daughter bet 0. So like I said, she had 7,000. And in preparation, she did 2 years of preparation because she got the notice like 2 years before, and she had been waiting to play Jeopardy all of her life. And so when finally she gets on, it's a Friday, and of course we're up in the
Audience.
audience, sweating just crazy, like,
Yeah.
you know, because we're so nervous.
How
for her.
big? How big was the studio? Does it seem smaller than you would think it would be, or is it
No,
pretty big?
I think it's about right. Think of possibly the like the fellowship hall at the Northland campus at Canyon Cafe. I
Okay.
think of it about that big, but then you have bleachers on one side. So
Okay.
the people are down there, and then the
I mean, that's
audience is-
pretty. It's not huge.
Yeah, no, it's not very
Yeah.
big. And it seems like they filmed something else in there, but I can't remember
Yeah.
what it was. Bonanza. Or anyway, so they get to the end,
It's quite the set change.
and so Becky doesn't bet anything. He bets the whole thing, and the lady, the third lady, bet $1. Well, Becky got it right, and the answer was like Alexander Solzhenitsyn or Dostoevsky or some really obscure. Because when they're getting ready to go to commercial break, and they said, and here's the topic for the Final Jeopardy: Russian authors. So
Yeah.
so she gets it right. Well, he gets it wrong. He bets his whole bank. So they go back to the green room, and the lady wins. She bets $1. Becky stays the same. She did that based on Ken Jennings' Strategies for Jeopardy, which she read.
Yeah.
And then the guy went into the green room and broke down, was just in tears because he was so far ahead. And then he
Lost it all.
40 grand
Yeah.
in front of a
like a-
national syndicated audience
Yeah.
who watches Jeopardy and is going, I can't believe you didn't know Alexander Solzhenitsyn or whatever. it was.
Or why didn't you just bid 10,000?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like the 13, even if
Yeah.
she doubled it, it's 26.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be smart enough in that
Didn't do
moment.
the didn't do the math.
I think Becky said he was trying to pay off his student loan.
Okay.
And it
Yeah, but
worked
if
out
you
for
can
him.
come back the next day,
You got a chance, right?
you got a chance to make more money.
40 grand.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't win, do you get to bring home your winnings, or is it
No.
just like a loss?
No, at this point it's just $1,000 and $2,000. For a little while they were giving parting gifts from Maytag and But now they give him $1,000 for third place and $2,000. If you don't,
And 2/3 of
Final
that goes to
Jeopardy-
the government. So
Pays for your plane ticket.
Yeah, well, there's a guy on now who has run for, he's up to over $500,000. I'm sure maybe even more. But
Wow.
he's been on for 3 weeks because
Yeah.
we watch it
Yeah.
pretty regular. I know all about the controversy that's going on in Jeopardy
Jeopardy.
with the
That's why
sociopaths.
with the sociopaths.
That's why
in
we,
California.
That's why
Yeah.
we brought you on today.
Oh my goodness!
is
Well, before we dive too much into that, I thought it'd be fun if we played a little bit of Jeopardy with you two. And so I'm going to be your host, and I'm excited about this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I think that you guys are going to have a lot of fun. We need to come up with a system though, because Matt can reach the buzzer and Chip can't, and that just doesn't seem fair to me.
Well, I just heard it was all about the buzzer.
That's
buzzing
true.
in.
Yeah, it's true.
That's
And
true.
So
It's true. So no matter what I do, I could clap or snap or snort, whatever. But if he gets it first, then it doesn't make any difference. And Matt is quick on the draw once again.
That's true. So I'm thinking. I mean, you just smack the table.
Okay, smacking
That'll
the
work.
table.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's your categories. You ready?
Yep.
We have television, music, sports, restaurants, and random.
All right.
Just so you know, I made up none of this.
Okay.
I found this online, so we'll see if it's
I'm
any
like
good.
the most awful at Jeopardy. Even the answers that I know, I still get wrong.
Yeah, and you have to be in a form of a question, right?
Yeah.
So we'll start with Chip. You're our guest. So
okay, that's so nice.
it's 100 through 500 are your
Wow,
your
we're going to be
options.
playing this for a long time, man.
We don't have to play the whole game. I just thought it'd be fun to do a few of them.
Okay.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Do you remember the topics? Television, music, sports, restaurants, random.
Let's just try random just for grins
For
100.
100. Okay. This is Luigi's brother. The light
Who
just now.
is Mario?
Correct answer response. What is it, Mario?
Does it have to be what?
No, it
I
should
don't
be.
know.
It should be who?
No, that
Did I just mess up the Jeopardy?
the guy who's winning all the time now doesn't put anything in front of it. He just says, "What is whatever? What is Manny?"
Mario? Question mark.
All right. All right, Manning.
All right. Sports for 100.
Sports
Jared.
for 100. Foul shot, full court press.
What is foul shot?
Foul shot, full court
It's,
press.
you're supposed to guess the sport.
Oh,
Oh,
basketball. What is basketball? I got it.
I see.
All
I
right.
thought it was a
Yeah, yeah.
headlight or something.
Oh, let's go sports for 200 because this is outside of the Bible. This is where I can live comfortably.
How many strikes and fouls do you get in baseball?
3 strikes and fouls.
Strikes and fouls.
You get 3 strikes and as many fouls as you want. But Chip was faster on the buzzer than I was.
I'm giving it to you. Their answer is
Okay.
stupid.
What is there at?
What is 3 strikes and 4 fouls?
Yeah, they haven't ever watched baseball before.
I've never seen anybody hit
I-
4 fouls and you're out.
But that doesn't, unless it's softball.
Yeah.
In softball, you only get 2.
This is true. But they said, yeah.
They did say baseball. Okay, you're
Okay,
up.
well, let's try television for 500 because that's how the current champion does it. He always goes along the bottom line and he
Works his way
cleans up-
backwards.
Works his
Cleans
way
up.
backwards.
Okay, here you go. This channel is all cartoons.
What is
Matt.
Cartoon Network?
That's correct.
Way to go.
How about music for 500?
Okay. This song features the Sugar Plum Fairy.
What is the Nutcracker Suite?
Ew!
Whoa.
Matt, Chip just found his category.
There it is. I didn't have a clue.
That's
You guys are now tied at 700. What do you got,
Oh,
Chip?
Tricky. What's a category we haven't chosen?
Restaurants.
Restaurants.
Restaurants for 500, please, Alex
Okay.
or Jared.
Eating good in the neighborhood.
What is Applebee's?
Who whacked it? I missed it.
It was pretty
It was
close.
pretty close.
I'm giving it to Chip because he answered.
All right. Sounds good.
You have random for 500 and you have sports for 500.
Let's do sports for 500.
Okay. This person had 9 dunks in one basketball game.
Oh my goodness, it could be anybody. Who is Jabbar?
Wrong.
Who is Dr. J?
Wrong. You both lose points. I'm sorry. You're both back. It was who is LeBron James.
There's a lot of people who I think have had 9 dunks in a basketball game.
I don't know who came up with these questions, but they're not good.
It's crazy.
But the software's working great.
That's good.
Good.
It's good to know that the software is working.
All right, you get to go again, Chip.
Let's try restaurants for 400.
Okay. Think outside the bun. Yes, Chip?
I just went blank.
Did you look at it?
Uh-uh.
Okay, what do you got? Think outside the bun.
I'm gonna go with what is
correct.
What is Taco Bell?
Yes. That is correct. That makes you have, all right, Matt has 600, Chip has 700.
So this is Final Jeopardy.
We'll do Final Jeopardy. This is random for 500.
All
This
right.
will be for the win.
Do I get 30 seconds to think about it?
And
And will you sing the song?
Well, I'm bidding everything. I'm bidding 600.
Yeah, we'll just go all in.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Jared. I am the Innovations Pastor here at Crossroads Church. If you are enjoying our content today, would you do me a favor? Go ahead and subscribe to our podcast. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking. And lastly, share with your friends. We also want you to know that every weekend we get together at 8:30, 10, and 11:30 for our weekend services. We'd love to see you there, either in-house or online. Let's get back to it.
Well, I'm bidding everything. I'm bidding 600.
Yeah, we'll just go all in.
Yeah.
This book/movie series features vampires.
What is Twilight?
Matt gets the
Dun, 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 dun.
da-da-da,
Winner.
da-da-da-da. Good job, Matt.
I was waiting for that.
We'll give you the points. There you go.
Way to go.
Thanks.
Matt has 1,100. Chip has 700. That concludes our game for today. So Alex Trebek, oh man, was it 2019? I have it here. He came out with a message. It's actually March 6th, 2019, and he told the nation basically what was going on in his personal life. And so I actually have the video of his announcement here, and so I just want you guys to listen to it real quick.
Hi, everyone. I have some news to share with all of you, and it's in keeping with my longtime policy of being open and transparent with our Jeopardy fan base. I also wanted to prevent you from reading or hearing some overblown or inaccurate reports regarding my health. So therefore, I wanted to be the one to pass along this information. Now, just like 50,000 other people in the United States each year, this week I was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Now, normally the prognosis for this is not very encouraging, but I'm going to fight this. And I'm going to keep working, and with the love and support of my family and friends, and with the help of your prayers also, I plan to beat the low survival rate statistics for this disease. Truth told, I have to, because under the terms of my contract, I have to host Jeopardy for 3 more years. So help me, keep the faith, and we'll win. We'll get it done. Thank you.
Kind of sad and sobering, really, to watch it knowing that he didn't make it.
Yeah.
But he did last a long time.
He did
Yeah,
last.
he
a
made
long
it to almost the end of 2020, right?
Yeah.
That's when he passed.
So, two of his 3 years to his contract. Yeah, I don't know. Was he a Christian guy?
I don't know that either.
I mean, he said pray and keep the faith, which would lead me to think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he passed away in November, and so now the show has been actively looking to find a replacement. How do you replace? It's kind of like replacing Bob Barker, right? I mean, they replaced on The Price is Right. They replaced him with what's his name?
Drew Carey.
Drew Carey.
Yes.
It's okay, you know.
Oh,
It's still on.
it is still on. I wonder if it'll ever go off.
Yeah, but finding this, and so they've had, it's kind of funny too with all the controversy around like Aaron Rodgers. That Aaron Rodgers was the host,
Yes.
right, of Jeopardy a couple of times, and so now they narrowed it down to a couple of people. Mike Richards, who was actually a producer on the show. as well as Mayim. How do you say her last name? Bialik. And so it was between those two. They picked Richards, and then controversy came out and stuff started blowing up, right? Matt, can you walk us through a little bit of that controversy?
Yeah, I guess, all these past things came out about Mike Richards, right? So
From years ago
when he was on The Price is Right, when he was an executive producer, there was a discrimination lawsuit that was brought against him by a couple of models who were pregnant. And then there was a podcast that nobody can find anymore because it's off. But there was a podcast where he said some crass remarks and such. And so both of those are 7-8 years old. But those past comments is what caused the controversy of whether he should be or shouldn't be. And then I think all these things came out about how he was the one setting up the filmings for people to view and whether they selected him or not selected him in front of audiences. And a little bit more has come out in terms of how he created.
Back it up.
Yeah.
Explain what you just said there.
Well, the
filmings.
Yeah, so they brought it before a group of people to say, which host do you like the most?
Oh, okay.
And the segments that were chosen, he was the one who got to choose the segments to show.
I thought
whether he was.
I thought it was like contestants. Like, we're trying to decide if this would be a good contestant or not. And
No. It was the host. Yeah, it was the host, and so it was like that. Him and the 5 or 6 other hosts that they were bringing before an audience, and saying which one would you choose based on these performances.
Gotcha.
Now, all of Jeopardy fans have been watching, all of the hosts for the last 6 months, and it's not like
you have.
You bet.
Yeah.
Actually, Chip can probably rank the best to worst.
Who did you like?
Sorry. My favorite really was
Aaron Rodgers.
Ken Jennings. Aaron Rodgers did a great job.
Oh, did he?
He did a really good job.
Yeah.
He would be a good replacement. Also, Buzzy Cohen, who was one of the former champions and was on for 6 weeks or whatever. He did a really good job too. The worst was, can I say who the worst was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's Dr. Oz. Terrible. Terrible. Like, oh my gosh, why is that guy even famous?
Does he know how to read?
Yeah, it was awful. He was really bad. And then there were, some good ones and bad ones. And we, but we liked.
How did you feel about the final two? Did you like both of them?
Mike Richards did a good job. You know who else did pretty good? Joe Buck did good. Mm-hmm. And so did Anderson Cooper. I know Anderson Cooper had terrible ratings, but who cares about that? He did a great job as a host.
Because he was hosting during the Olympics. It's not his fault.
LeVar hosted during.
Okay, I tried to throw him a bone.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Way to go. Give him a chance. Yeah, but so we watched them all and we liked them. It'll be interesting to see who they say. My daughter, the Jeopardy alum, says it should be LeVar Burton because he's an educator. LeVar was not the best host. Now, have an educator in there, I guess that's okay, but he was not the best host.
But it's about personality and being able to deliver stuff well, right?
Well,
more than
that's what I would think. But
it's about interviewing the contestants and being able to read a prompt well.
Because the host isn't coming up with the questions or any of that stuff. They're just reading the cards.
No, and he honestly, LeVar was a little bit like starstruck, I think, just being on. And maybe if he warmed up, maybe if he had 3 weeks. But the good ones were like right on it. They knew how to interact with people and showed up on time.
Yeah. Did someone not show up on time?
Well, I didn't show up on time today, so.
Yeah.
Well, now you have even stuff coming out against Mayim, right? Like all the controversy around when she got her kids vaccinated, and now Ken Jennings made a tweet about a wheelchair thing that got him in hot water, and so like you have all of the.
Which one's Ken Jennings? Is he up for the running too?
He's like the big dog winner. He was the big dog contestant.
Oh, okay.
That was on for like 22 years straight.
Yeah, he was on forever.
And he wanted to be the host, or they're just mad at him?
Oh, no. He was a good choice for the host.
Oh, okay.
That was Chip's favorite.
So everybody they have an issue with everybody.
Well, you know what?
Cancel.
Everybody has a
Cancel Jeopardy.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a perfect host candidate, you're gonna have a hard time finding it.
I mean, being that we all sin and we all screw up, you're gonna have a hard time finding someone that's never done that.
Which Alex Trebek had an amazing reputation. Which, I mean, obviously he was probably a really good guy, but he wasn't faultless. So
sure.
The PR team must have been amazing.
Here's the thing, though, too, is that back in the 60s, they probably didn't track as much as they track now, right?
Oh, there's no
I mean,
Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you couldn't put your stuff out there, and they all did terrible things. We just didn't find out about it until they were dead.
Yeah.
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 Well, I think that's the kind of the crazy thing right now is like the movement on social media can alter the decision that a corporation makes. When I look at it and I go, you know what? I think most of the time audiences actually aren't really sure what they're wanting in a host or whatever it is. But now, like the power of the people
is influencing the decision. And they don't have a decision, right? They don't know what they're going to do. Who's hosting tonight? Do you know?
I don't know. I do know that for the last 2 weeks while they were kind of in this limbo, they were doing Alex Trebek around the world. So they were running
Reruns?
of him just doing Jeopardy.
Yeah.
You sent me an article, Matt, that talked about some of this stuff, and I don't know what happened. Did Matt give you a face?
No.
Would you like to let us in to what's happening over here?
It's just not appropriate.
Oh, I see. So how do you say her name again? Mayim
Bialik.
Bialik. So she's on a sitcom called Call Me Kat, and so she's trying to figure out too, even if she could even be the host long term, because she doesn't know if her sitcom's going to do well. Which I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's any good.
You know, Jeopardy pays a boatload of money to be a host. I'd just try to breach that contract.
Yeah, just can it.
Yeah, whatever you want me to pay in fines.
Yeah,
I'll go
pay
ahead
it.
and take that one.
Yeah, and be the Jeopardy
Because
host.
Trebek made like $30 million his last year hosting Jeopardy.
Oh my goodness,
Ridiculous amount of money.
holy cow! Maybe I should be the host of Jeopardy. I'm going to put my name in.
It's
not too late.
Well. You're a good interviewer,
It's
and
not-
that's what it's about.
it's not too
and
late.
you can read.
Well, that's up for debate.
You know, one of the things that they said,
This is
though,
true.
is you have to be able to pronounce all of those words. So if
Sure.
if you say there's controversy,
Uh-huh.
people won't know what you're talking about.
That's
right?
true.
And so
Yeah.
you have to be able to do that, and names, because sometimes people's names are Mayim Bialik, and
Right.
you look at it and you say Mayim or Daryl.
Mayim Bialik.
Daryl.
That's right. So
Jeopardy.
for Christmas last year, we did something specific just for online, and so we did scripture readings out of it was Matthew, right? Luke. It
Luke
was out of
chapter 2.
Luke.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
usually the go-to Christmas
Luke
verse.
2. And so I'm reading, and it's really dark because it's just basically candles in the room, and I can't see the words. And man, I tripped all over that scripture. The beauty of video is that we could shoot it multiple times, and I could just take the portions that were.
That is good. That's a good idea.
But it was rough going. So maybe I wouldn't be a good host.
I just looked it up. Alex Trebek in his last year made $18 million for 46 days of work.
Okay. Again.
30 must have been his,
Yeah.
with all of his extra stuff that he did.
Mm-hmm.
But the controversy is crazy because it speaks to like our culture right now being cancel crazy.
Yeah.
And like how far in the past, or when is your past the past?
Mm-hmm.
And are you allowed to grow
Right.
as a person anymore?
Right. Well, yeah. And is there a chance of redemption? I mean,
Not in culture.
not in culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after Mike Richards takes his sensitivity training, is that enough?
Right.
Is the past? And then
If
if he's the best, is he allowed to do it now?
you know who's coming back though, even in this cancel culture, is we were just watching a video with him as John Christ, the comedian,
Oh,
because he got canceled, right? Like because of stuff that came out with him. And then I don't know how he's doing it, but he was gone for a season. He didn't do anything, but now he's slowly creeping back in. And we just watched a pretty funny video about cancel culture, actually, that he's kind of making a spoof on it. So
But you have like James Gunn, right? The producer director of the Guardians of the Galaxies and Suicide Squad, and he actually got fired by Disney for Guardians 3 because of stuff that he said all the way back in like 2003, 2004, and got him canceled some 16 years later.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the real thing that our society has to wrestle with is there such a thing as repentance? Once forgiveness happens, when is your past no longer going to impact your future? And all of that's...
And do we believe that humans can grow and change?
Yeah.
I think some people say you are who you are and there is no change. where other people say, no, there's definitely growth and
Well, I think
definitely
that-
I
ability
hope
to
so.
change.
Yeah. And I think that's
I
part
think
of
as Christians we would think
Yeah.
so.
I think for a majority of Americans, what's so shocking in the cancel culture movement right now is that in the fabric of the DNA of America, of the U.S., is the second chance, right? That people can be better, that there is a second chance. And, so far that there is no bad publicity, right? All publicity is good publicity. That's the way that's been stated. And yet in the last year and a half, there's been this super switch where it's like, no, there are no second chances in life anymore. You can't prove yourself. Like who you are 7 years ago is who you are today.
Well, surely that happens in the church too, right? Like,
Absolutely.
where someone will do something and they're, depending on the severity of what it is, we'll say, well, you can't take part of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not right or wrong. I'm just saying that reality is not secluded to just, secular culture, but that happens within
In the church.
the church as well. And so I think that's something that whether you're in leadership or if you're just an attender or part of the community, we really have to think through that and wrestle through that. Like, do we really believe that transformation can happen in a person's life?
Well, and how many people, I'm going to say, who were maybe raised in the church and then sort of they've walked away and then they'll just say, oh, if I walk into church, the lightning's going to strike, the Lord's going to strike me dead. All the people will look at me like, oh, you're so terrible. And, we just want people to be able to come in and be connected. So,
Yeah. And I think that when it comes to like the church, at least in a healthy church, and what we've tried to model at Crossroads is that there's roads to redemption. Like your past sins do have consequence.
Sure.
And the way that those consequences lived out, you're going to have to. And maybe Mike Richards, this is an appropriate consequence for an action that he made. But I think what lacks in our culture is there is no road to redemption in that space. And sadly, probably in a lot of churches. And it's one of the things here at Crossroads that we've tried really hard to is that we expect people to fall. Like people are sinful. We expect them to mess up. We expect them.
And we don't expect them to walk in the door fixed either.
Right. Yeah. And so what does the road to redemption look like? Whether you're a tender at Crossroads, whether you're a staff member, whether you're a pastor in leadership, like we're all sinful and fallen creatures. What does it look like for us to travel that road of redemption? And the way that people respond to the offer of redemption probably shares a lot about who they are in their character.
One of the greatest things that you've shared with me, and this applies to my parenting that I do all the time now. I can't remember where it came from, but freedom equals responsibility equals, what's the third one?
You called me on it. So freedom equals responsibility equals, oh my goodness, now that you called me on it right now in front of...
Grace?
No. Give me a minute. It'll come to me in a second. You keep telling your story about how great I am.
I always use freedom equals responsibility, and I can't remember where it came from. It was in a podcast somewhere.
Yeah, it's a Henry Cloud thing.
That's it. It's Henry Cloud. Yeah. And so I've been using that with my kids too, So if I want to give you freedom, but when you abuse that freedom, or you're not responsible with that freedom, then I have to take some of that freedom away. And so I think that's when it comes to the road to redemption is, hey, you made a mistake, and so you're going to lose some of your freedom, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to work towards giving you that freedom back.
it comes back, right? I mean, the freedom, when you show yourself that you can handle whatever that responsibility is, then you're able to get more responsibility and okay, I made a mistake. I didn't pick up my socks, so now
I don't get to wear
socks anymore. And maybe someday I'll be able to wear socks and not have these blisters on my feet.
Yeah, we actually had one of our kids that kept standing up in their chair. And so I said, hey, it is a freedom for you to get to stand in that chair. So for the next 2 days, you don't get a chair. When you come to the dinner table, you are standing and eating so that you can learn to handle that freedom of a chair correctly.
Yeah, it's love.
It's love.
Freedom equals responsibility equals love.
That's it.
So those are the three things that we are constantly keeping in balance. And so if you have if you are not loving people well, then we have to restrict your freedoms, right, in that space. Or if you're not showing yourself to be responsible, and maybe your responsibility is not showing people love or dignity or honor, then we have to restrict some of your freedom. Or you're showing yourself to be good with people and you're loving people, and you're responsible, and your freedom actually needs to increase in that space. That's the understanding
That's like
of that lesson.
having two teenagers that you allow one to go out at night, but the other one has to stay at home.
That's right.
It's true.
You know,
it's so true.
We haven't got there yet, but I can imagine where my kids will be once we get to that space. But well, guys, man, I think that our culture can be weird sometimes.
Yep.
And the way that we handle things is not always the best. But like I said before, that happens in churches as well, and I think that Christians are kind of weird as well in the things that we do and the way that we approach life. And so we're actually in the middle of a really good message series right now on Sundays called "Why Christians Are Weird," or the weird things Christians do is what it's called. And so we just want to invite anybody that's listening to come check that out. It's 3 weeks, right? It's only a 3-week series. So go and listen to some of the reasons we are identifying why Christians are weird, but not just that we're weird, but why we do the weird things that we do. And so I think that that's really helpful to understand the why behind some of the things that we do. So I want to invite you guys to do that. As always, it is good to be with you, Matt. Chip, thanks for being here, man. It was fun to have you on today.
It was really fun.
Really appreciate
really had
you.
a great time, and glad I didn't embarrass myself.
Yeah, you did. You did great. You did great.
I was close. I was close, but then I'd be canceled.
Always a good time.
We don't want to cancel you, Chip. So really appreciate you, and we will catch you guys next time.
Sounds good.
Bye.